Hello, everyone. Welcome to Breakfast All Day. Alonso, Matt, Christy. It's July 4th weekend. But things are happening. It's been a week. What's going on?
Speaking of freedom, Bill Cosby's out of prison.
Boo!
Let's talk about that. There's a lot of news happened this week with horrible people or bad things happening to good people. But the big news is that the Pennsylvania Supreme Court overturned Bill Cosby's conviction, saying that in agreement with a previous prosecutor, whose name happens to be Bruce Castor, who was a Trump impeachment lawyer, in agreement with him from a long time ago, prevented Cosby from being charged. So like he never should have been charged in the first place based on that. And so the Supreme Court in Pennsylvania overturned his conviction. He spent not quite 3 years in prison. He's 83 years old. He went home this week. The aerial footage of him on the freeway in a white SUV had all kinds of shades of OJ. It was a very strange and frustrating and sad day.
I think one of my favorite responses was political writer Jelani Cobb said, now we have to listen to him swan about like he's Nelson effing Mandela.
And well, Felicia Rashad had this unfortunate tweet about like,
oh, Felicia Rashad.
Oh, a terrible wrong has been righted and justice has been served. And then she had to like walk that back and say like, oh, I believe women.
Yeah, because she's a dean at Howard, like on top of everything
She's
else.
the dean of the fine arts school at Howard. And they had to put out a statement like distancing themselves from her.
Yeah, yeah. I immediately thought of what's her face in Promising Young Woman.
Carrie Mulligan?
No. The college dean.
Oh, right. Connie Nielsen.
Connie Nielsen. Yes. Thank
you. Yeah. When this went down originally and then still when it happened, like I always think about, it didn't get much coverage, but there was a little bit of, if I remember correctly, I could be remembering this wrong, but there was a little bit that like all Lisa Bonet had to say at the time was like, right? It was basically like, yeah, why do you guys think I left that show?
Yeah.
Like,
shrug.
Right. Like, told you. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. Like the prosecutor fucked up and that's shitty.
Like, how did it not get caught at any stage during this lengthy trial with all kinds of testimony? And like, how did nobody go like, hang on a sec, there's this thing that already occurred years ago.
How did his army of lawyers not pick up on this? I mean, because I know he did not, they were not court appointed. He was shelling out for those guys. So, you know, it's just, yeah, it sucks. It sucks. I mean, like, you know, that you can have 60 women come forward and give their testimony and still be like, oh, well, loophole.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I mean, a couple of things that are a source of solace. He's old. He will never have a career again, right? His name is tainted eternally. This will follow him forever. This will be the first few words of his obit, right? He will never be the beloved uncle of yore, you know, the pop culture titan he was. Don't you think?
Newsmax may be hiring.
Yeah.
Maybe selling pudding pops on Newsmax. Anyway, so that's a thing that happened. Also, the judge in the Britney Spears conservatorship has maintained Jamie Spears as the person in charge of it. Now, Judge Brenda Penny, mom of Prentice Penny, did not take into consideration with that ruling the statement that Britney made, the very impassioned statement that she made, detailing how miserable she's been and how controlled she's been. Like, that has to be its own separate filing. This decision she made was based on actual court documentation that has been filed. So that Bessemer Trust is no longer a part of things, but Jamie's still in charge. So I guess there has to be a physical filing detailing in writing what Britney said in such an impassioned way.
Right. And I seem to remember that at least part of like one of her recent statements, one of Spears' recent statements was not realizing she could file to have the whole thing dissolved.
Well, she needs a better lawyer that could tell her that shit, right?
Yes. But she didn't realize that she could actually, rather than just get her dad kicked off, get it cut to the chase and like, hey, I can have my own money again. Yeah, I mean, you got to think like this is at least a temporary victory for her father, but because the Bessemer Trust seemed to be just as bad as her father.
And they've now withdrawn.
Yeah, they've bailed on it. So yeah, I mean, I think at this point, maybe I'm being optimistic. It seems like a matter of when and not if, but this is, it's still slow going. This is a week that shows you why everyone hates lawyers until they need one.
But Britney has Dionne Warwick.
And even then.
Yeah, well.
Dionne Warwick recorded a very sweet video and she posted it on her Twitter feed in support of Britney and describing how she's spent the last 13 years in bondage.
Can I mention that Dionne Warwick is slaying on Twitter these days?
She's so good at Twitter.
She's so good. And to the point that like everyone's going to forget the whole psychic hotline thing.
I think it was part of her too. We do enjoy all of her. Do we not?
Cher did infomercials. Like, there was lean times. People needed to get some checks.
Also, men behaving badly. James Franco has settled for $2.2 million with the women who had been in his acting school who say that he forced them into sexual situations and increasingly uncomfortable orgy type settings in what is supposedly the classroom setting. And anyway, $2.2 million he settled. It does not admit any wrongdoing in the process of this, by the way.
Well, that's how settlements work.
Right. It was just like, oops, and here's some money.
Yeah.
There was that. There is going to be a recall. The date is set for the Gavin Newsom governorship to be recalled. September 14th is the day. That's
California never learns anything. Also, like our recall system and our ballot amendment system are both just bananas. Like, I think people have too much. It's too easy to like completely gum up the works if you can get the right billionaires on your behalf to like collect your signatures and put crap together.
Yeah, I remember when Newsom was running against Villaraigosa, and a friend of mine somebody I know was talking about the difference between the two candidates, both former mayors of major California cities. And somebody's like, yeah, talking with some people from the Bay Area. And the guy I know says, I'm going to vote for Villaraigosa. They're both assholes, but at least Villaraigosa's our asshole. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I have any love for Gavin Newsom necessarily. I just think these recalls are costly and a waste of time, and often things wind up worse than they started.
Right. Clearly, though, Caitlyn Jenner is not going to be our governor.
Oh God, no.
But then I never thought Trump would be our president. So what the fuck do I know?
Never say never.
Andy Dick was arrested for assault with a deadly weapon in LA last weekend for a fight with his former lover.
Okay.
He body slammed my leg, says Dick, who was bailed out of jail. My femur got broken, my ankle got shattered, and the tendons and ligaments on the other side are ripped off the bone. So he's saying that he was attacked and he's the one who got arrested. Anyway.
Okay.
Andy Dick. So one thing too that has changed here in LA County is that we are being urged. It's not a mandate,
right.
But because of the Delta variant, we here in LA County, and perhaps also where you guys all are out there listening or watching, we now need to wear masks indoors again in places where perhaps we might have been able to take them off, like a restaurant or a grocery store. I know you guys have both been super careful thus far, but for folks who maybe were starting to feel like they could get back to normal if they were vaccinated, now they're urging people to maintain the mask for a bit longer.
Right. Now, and it's my understanding the variants are, it's a riskier proposition for the unvaccinated than for the vaccinated, right?
Yes, it's more transmissible. I mean, in theory, we are protected if we are vaccinated, right? But I think just to be safe, just because you never know, everyone needs to wear a mask again. Again, not a mandate, not an order.
Everyone's
recommendation.
Encouraged.
Yes. What else? Queen Latifah came out.
Yay.
Yes. This is not shocking news.
I heard that news and I thought, had she been that in? But I guess she had.
Oh, yes. She was very well. Okay, I think there are gradations of this thing. There's actively lying about it, and then there's the no comment. And she was very no comment for a very long time. And it's funny because Dave and I, for our Linoleum Knife Patreon, we do a thing periodically where we'll take one movie and we'll like devote it like a 20-30 minute episode to it. And we just did one about Set It Off. And we sort of talked about how like she's so amazing in that movie playing a lesbian character, and how like, there have been all these sort of paparazzi photos over the year with, the same woman. And this, it was sort of a thing that people knew, but she never acknowledged. And, again, there are gradations of like celebrities that you get annoyed with over this sort of thing. And everybody has their own choice for that. But I mean, like my thought with her was like, you know what, like, to be a Black woman in this industry is already like super difficult, and you're facing all these challenges. Like if you don't feel like talking about stuff, then don't talk about it. But now she's talking about it, so good for her.
Right. At the BET Awards, she received a Lifetime Achievement Award, and while she was up there, she sent love to her longtime partner and to their son.
Yeah.
At the opposite end of the spectrum is the continuing stuff you see on Twitter from Lil Nas X, where people will complain about him seeming too gay and too out there, and his answer is typically something along the lines of, nope.
Yeah, I love him so much. He also performed, it was the BET Awards, right, where he performed again and people flip out again because, and he had a great tweet about like, this is a song about gay sex and y'all are mad that I'm kissing a guy on stage. Like, what do you want me to do? Play the piano and make cookies?
Right.
So yeah,
right.
I
think he had said something along the lines,
future.
Right. And I think he said something along the lines of like, okay, next time I'll just fuck him on stage.
Yes, exactly.
Wait, so he's out? Yes.
Oh, far.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, just making sure. Just making sure. One little bit of legal news I forgot to mention in that section. Allison Mack, our friend from NXIVM and Smallville, she got 3 years for her role in helping procure women for Vanguard to manipulate
and coercion
brand.
and blackmail and whatnot.
It sounds like she cut a deal. It sounds like
sure she cut a deal.
Right. I mean, it really looks like, from what I read, that a lot of the recordings she had turned over.
Yeah, and like so, they mainly were able to bust Rainier with her assistant. So yeah, I'm sure this is a lot shorter sentence than she might have gotten otherwise. But yeah, she's no, I'm not going to say.
Yeah, the Allison Mack and the Cosby news broke like within minutes of each other, so it was really exciting there, and kind of stressful. The disconnect between those two events there. What else? Meghan McCain's leaving The View.
My favorite series of tweets on that has been all the people said, and now we'll never know who her father was.
My father's like a supercut of my father. Someone also did a supercut of people saying goodbye, people announcing that they're leaving The View. Everyone from Nicole Wallace to Elizabeth Hasselbeck to Barbara Walters herself to Star Jones. And there's a whole section of people saying, through prayer and counsel, through counsel and prayer. So
to spend more time with my family.
Right. And so, do you know her daughter's name is Liberty?
Right.
I wish you guys who are listening, I wish you could see Alonso and Matt's faces. Anyway, she loves freedom.
Alonso, when you bring up the idea of to spend more time with my family, every time I hear that, I think, because it always comes from somebody who's a total asshole, right? And so I always think, like, man, is he mad at his family now? Like, what did they do? Right? Like the kids are like,
they're like, yeah,
Dad's going to be home all the time. God damn it.
Right. Do they get a say in this?
Yeah, right. Like,
keep the job.
Our friend Andrew On, a lovely gentleman, great filmmaker, is doing a movie. It was announced this week called Fire Island, which is a gay Pride and Prejudice starring Bowen Yang and Joel Kim Booster. That sounds like fun.
I love every piece of that. So I mean, I can't review Andrew's films because I've known him for ages from Outfest and from other stuff, but I'm a big fan of his work. If y'all haven't seen Driveways yet, good heavens, it was one of the best films of 2020. I believe it's on Canopy right now. Yeah.
Spa Night.
Spawn Night is great. Also, his 2 features are both dynamite, and I love that he's making like a fully unabashedly queer movie, and that it's going to be like a fun comedy with Bo and Yang. Like, yes to all
great.
of this.
Yes, a fun queer Asian movie that sounds great. And when Andrew tweeted it, he was like, "This is my Eternals." So that'll be fun. I know, Alonso, that you're not a big fan of trailers, but this week, sort of a big thing everyone was talking about was the trailer for the Sopranos prequel called The Many Saints of Newark. It is coming out on October 1st, and it stars Michael Gandolfini, son of James Gandolfini, as a teenage Tony Soprano. Did you guys watch the trailer?
I did not.
Yes.
Matt, did you? I did.
Yeah, I did.
It's a really good cast. It's like Vera Farmiga as young Livia Soprano, which is amazing casting. She's got that Jersey accent down. Alessandro Nivola in it. He's always really good. Yeah, it's always hard for me to look at these things and not think it's like a Muppet Babies version of this thing that is culturally significant.
It is
Soprano Babies.
Soprano Babies. Yeah. I hope it's good. Did y'all ever see Not Fade Away?
Yes.
I did not particularly care for that.
It wasn't very good, no.
But this is back in more familiar territory for Chase. So.
Did you guys see the 2 new Jungle Cruise trailers?
No. That look good?
They're very cute because one gets introduced by The Rock and one gets introduced by Emily Blunt, and they're both messing up each other's names, and each trailer, like, one is almost exclusively The Rock in it and one is almost exclusively Emily Blunt, and they've got this like made up feud about there's this other newcomer in the movie, Dave Johnson. It's very cute.
Is this supposed to be like the African Queen, where it's like them bickering the whole time? And then
it looks exactly like it. It's Disney's African Queen.
Okay.
Yeah, they also, if you've watched the trailers, you get to see The Rock do some of the classic Jungle Cruise jokes.
There are classic Jungle Cruise jokes?
Like backside of water. Come on.
I don't know what that means.
Do you ever go to Disneyland, Christy?
I've been to Disneyland. I have been
on the ride
in my life. Yes, but like not since childhood.
See, I go every time, and you get the same jokes every time. But there's something reassuring about that.
I don't have this deep love for Disneyland that you guys do, and thankfully, my kid does not pester me to go, so I never have to go.
If I go at all, I go at Christmas time.
I know.
And some years not even that. So do not lump me in with the hardcore Disneyland folks, and bless all of you. I'm just not one of you.
The weirdos like Matt, you want to say it, don't you?
I mean, I go once a year.
I have friends who are pass holders, so I'm in no position to throw stones here.
I'd like to go check out all the Avengers stuff, but I hear it's like a 3-hour wait. And
I mean, the new Star Wars stuff is awesome.
I hear that's real. I hear the Rise of Skywalker, or whatever it is, Rise of the Resistance. I hear it's really cool.
Yeah, no, I've heard good things about the new stuff. I haven't been in.
Right. At some point, I'll make myself go, but like not until summer's over. There's just no way. Ewan McGregor and Mary Elizabeth Winstead had a baby together. Did you guys know they're even together?
I did not.
I did not see that Obi-Wan would be dating Huntress.
Yeah, they're together, and it's a boy named Laurie, and it's his 5th child.
I mean, I guess maybe they got together when they were shooting that movie.
Birds of Prey.
Oh, that's right. They're both in Birds of Prey. I forgot about that.
I think they were together before that, from what I read.
Oh.
Did they do a TV show together? Anyway,
Maybe.
They did something together prior to that. I'm not sure that that's where they got together, but yes, they are together.
Fascinating.
And that's just weird. I had never even known that in my life.
Congratulations.
Yes, Mazel Tov. We have many, many new Academy members.
Yes.
As they continue to diversify in terms of experience and age and race. It's an exciting crop of people, like hundreds of people. I will mention a few. Kemp Powers, Jonathan Majors, Kathy Yan, Stephen Yoon, Paul Racy, Nicole Bahari, Robert Pattinson, Issa Rae, Henry Golding, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, Maria Bakalova, and this is shocking that he was not in before, Nathan Lane.
I saw that too. I'm like,
How is Nathan Lane not already in the Academy? It's very strange. Then a couple of our friends, Matt Dentler, who used to run South by Southwest for a long time, and Eugene Hernandez, who co-founded IndieWire and is now one of the honchos at Film Society of Lincoln Center.
My friend Leslie Kleinberg, who's also at Lincoln Center, who's a documentary filmmaker. She got in this year. It's very
so. Congrats to all of you. Exciting for you. And
no, there's no critics branch of the Academy, and they are the poorer for it.
They're a publicist.
I think that they should, that the Academy should make the whole membership public. Like they should have the list of members known.
Is it
not?
Not?
It's not.
But they do announce who they've invited every year?
Yes, they announce who they've added, but they don't typically. Having looked for this and remembering that LA Times story from a few years ago where they had to do a lot of detective work, there is not a public record. There's not a record that they make public, like, here's everybody that votes.
Huh. Well,
I think because they would be, I would love to see that. I think that should be done, but they don't do it.
Interesting.
I'm sure there's some privacy issue there. Like, obviously nonprofits have to show who like their board of directors are and that kind of thing. But I don't think they're not required to list every single member they have.
No, I think it's more along the lines of they don't want to, and they've never wanted to have to explain, like, why does this person who hasn't made a movie in 50 years still get to vote? That's what it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Also, my last thing I want to mention is that there was a thing that was going around on Twitter this past week saying, name 5 movies you have seen at least 10 times. And that kind of created some fun lists and some fun retweets. I saw a lot of Shawshank Redemption in there. I wonder, what would your choices be? I mean, there's so many that I've seen at least 10 times, but...
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Citizen Kane, It's a Wonderful Life, Singing in the Rain,
like movies that you know by heart.
Yeah. I would say back in the day, The Breakfast Club for sure.
Yeah. What would you say, Matt?
Star Wars. And the other two, obviously. But Star Wars, Fifth Element, The Imposters, the Stanley Tucci movie, have watched that. That gets quoted in my house all the time.
Really?
Why? On the boat?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
yeah,
random.
just because my wife and I think it's hilarious and we love it. And then probably Ronin, and... maybe Manchurian Candidate.
The first one, the original.
The first one, yeah.
Oh, What's Up, Doc would totally be on my list.
Yeah, no, Ronin, and probably something like A Christmas Story, just because it's been on so fucking much, right? So yeah, I mean, I'd say actually, so it would be Star Wars, Fifth Element, The Imposters, Ronin, and A Christmas Story.
Okay, I picked The Wizard of Oz, Sound of Music, Grease 2, Breakfast Club, and Lebowski.
Oh yeah, I've probably seen Lebowski more than 10 times.
Yeah, for sure. I just think about movies that, when I was a kid, when you're a kid, you've got time in the summer and you can watch things like over and over and over again. So this, like the summer of 1982, I want to say it was, maybe it was 83. Grease 2 was on a lot. And I watched it.
It opened the summer of 82.
Oh,
so it would have been on cable the next summer.
It would have been, 83. It would have been on TV.
Okay.
So another one that I have seen countless times is The Matrix. And partly because my parents had satellite TV and they got one of the cards that like opened up all the channels. And so The Matrix was showing on pay-per-view like every half hour on a bunch of them. So you could kind of dip into The Matrix at any point you wanted when I would be over there house sitting. And so watch that like a bazillion times. Like, oh, nothing else is on? Let's pop into The Matrix.
When we had the movie channel in high school, I watched Victor Victoria over and over again.
TMC, the movie channel.
Yes.
Anyway, that was sort of a fun thing. I like that all three of our lists are totally different. That's kind of fun too. Anyways, that's a fun thing. If you guys want to chime in on that, if you're listening or watching, let us know what your movies would be that you've seen at least 10 times. I don't know. I don't have time to watch things over and over and over again anymore, but as a kid, for sure I did.
Yeah. Although, like, if Gentlemen Prefer Blondes is on, I'm watching it till the end of it,
Yes. That's all I got.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Well, hey, golly, that was lovely. Thanks everybody for watching. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on the social media at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and do check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. We are getting in there with Loki. We're down to we're 2/3 of the way through the season, and everybody has agreed that we're going to do Ted Lasso season 2. So
when does that begin? When do I have to start cramming?
In the next couple of weeks. So, but trust
end
me,
of July.
You'll watch season 1 like candy. It'll, so yeah,
like little shortbread cookies.
There you bingo. Thank you. So stick around for that. You definitely, if you haven't become a member yet, I think you ought to now. Patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. Have a good week. Take care of yourselves and each other. And we'll see you next time.
Happy 4th. Bye.